Welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. She's got a single eye that sometimes weeps. If she's lying on the bed, then she rubs it on the sheets, or up against the door, or the back of your neck. If your mother's around, well then you make a double check. I hate to tell you, with all due respect, take your mother to the doctor because her front bum's wrecked. You know why? Your mother's got a penis. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
I'm Guy Pigden. Feel like that really didn't make sense.
Well, why not?
Well, a couple of things. It seemed like they were talking about someone different.
Yeah. Now, it is halfway through a verse. It was too long. I just jumped in mid-flow.
Then it turned into someone's mum.
Mm-hmm.
Then instead of, like, they're talking about them having a single eye, I guess that could be...
it's the penis.
But it really made the impression that it was a vagina.
Well, front bum is wrecked, definitely implies vagina.
Yeah.
But it's so wrecked because it's a penis, is what he's saying. But anyway, that is your mate, the GLC. You ever heard of him?
No.
I never heard of him either. It's the GLC. Now, we're actually, that's his song, Your Mother's Got a Penis. Now, we're actually launching a new initiative here at the Guy and Harley podcast. Those lyrics were chosen by Filthy 50, Hardy Hundy, long-term supporter, Patreon supporter, Jeremy Howson. And new initiative, if you're a Patreon supporter, you can choose some lyrics too if you want.
You can pick the lyrics.
Just send them on in, facebook.com/Guy and Harley, or message me on Facebook, or those are the two best ways to do it, really. Or comment below, just comment below with your lyrics. And but the thing is, got to be a Patreon supporter. So if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, you can, facebook.com/Guy and Harley, or go to Patreon and search Pigville. That works too.
Get your plugs mixed up there.
I am, but that was Jeremy's idea
plugs
as well.
Plugs in autopilot.
That was Jeremy's idea as well. So good idea, Jeremy. Good thinking. And if any of you other Patreon supporters would like to give us some lyrics for next week, get at us.
So what's been going on in the world of Harley Neville this week? Oh, look, it's all happening, mate. It's all happening, really. I don't know. I didn't know you were going to throw me in like that. Well, the thing is, you did say last time that you made a completely arbitrary rule which had never existed before, which the person... That's not true. You just did not listen to me. The rule had to be that whoever does the lyrics has to have a first topic to go directly into. It makes sense. But it's never been a thing. And it's always been a thing. And you were like, it's the rules, mate. It's the rules. And I was like... And then I thought back and I was like, hang on a second. That's not the fucking rules. It is the rules. It's never been established. Sometimes you have a first topic. Sometimes I have a first topic. No, you go back and actually listen to 100 fucking podcasts, mate. I listen to them. You go back and listen to them, right? And you will know. I have to listen to them to do the recap, to talk about what they'd happen. Hey, you think you're hardcore. I listen to them voluntarily. All right? So... I guarantee if you look back, you'll find that this rule does not come into effect at all. It does. And we've spoken about it before. Don't get me started, you. Look, so... Yeah. So, I don't know what's happening in my life. You just argued for this rule as well. Yeah, well, I didn't prep today. Guy's been rushing me, okay, listeners? He's been rushing me. It was like I wanted to go to the gym. I'm sitting here all stinky. I'm still sipping on my protein shake. Normally I'm sipping on Fireball whiskey. Today I'm sipping on a protein shake. I went to the gym. I did one of my patented 20-minute workouts. 15 to 20. 15 to 20-minute workout. No shower. And I'm sitting here stinky and sweaty. And Guy's giving me grief about the first topic. So you don't have anything.
Okay, look. Carly Baker got back to me. The one that was the actress from Hollywood that's coming over to be in this movie that I'm acting in at the end of the month. And she left me on scene for a long time, but she did get back to me. We're homies now. It's all good. She seems cool. And also, I'm growing my hair out for that role, and so
which is always fun.
I look like shit. This is unrelated to Carly. This is a coincidence. I've been asked to grow my hair out and grow my beard out because this movie is set about 6 months after the apocalypse, and so I need to kind of just look a bit feral.
And as we know, there's no
barbers.
There's no barbers.
They're the first people to go.
And also there's no hair trimmers because they all run out of batteries. And there's no power.
And before power, there was no haircuts.
Yeah.
So...
There's no scissors because they've all been used to stab zombies with.
Yeah, they're all poking out the head of some zombie somewhere. Now, so I'm growing my hair out. It doesn't look that great. And the other night, I went for the first time to my ballet class, but in the evening. And I normally go at midday. And there's normally nobody around. But this time I went in the evening, like the 5:40 p.m. class, and let me tell you something. It was Shorty Central, and it was me and like 20 women. Literally, there was not a single other man in the room, and it was just me. I was the only guy there, and I've got my hair growing out. I've got my greys all in my beard and in my hair. I've got this massive, ridiculous chest hair and hairy shoulders, and I wear kind of like shitty workout gear. It's not like I wear like cool, trendy, rich boy brands or anything like that. No, I'm not wearing anything like that. I'm wearing like shitty shorts from the warehouse and whatever wife beater I can fucking scrape off the floor in my room and and
peel off the floor.
And so yeah, I really sincerely felt like perhaps some of the ladies there who would never have seen me before, even though I've been going for 2 years because I normally go during the day, they would have thought I was a homeless person who had got a membership in order to use the gym, use the showers, and stuff like that. Just the guy who comes in and then also does a pervy ballet class when it's all women.
Yeah, not to do the showers, to whack off in the showers
after doing my ballet class,
perving at these poor women trying to exercise.
Well, it's not on my watch.
It's pretty. It's pretty creepy.
And I did actually catch a one woman. Looking at me.
I bet.
Now, you can know they all looked at me. I mean, obviously you stand out like a fucking sore thumb when you're the only man in the whole class, let alone when you're this hairy and when you look like this, when you're afflicted like this. And so yeah, I caught this one lady. I was like facing the mirror, so she didn't know that I was looking at her. I was facing the mirror, and she walked in the room with her mate, and they were talking like blah 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 blah. And then she saw me, and I saw her, but she didn't see me see her. She saw my shoulders and like stopped, like mid word, like midway through, and then like just kind of like looked like almost like she didn't understand what she was looking at. Almost like she didn't quite comprehend it for that second.
She didn't believe it was real.
Yeah,
she did not. She thought it was a Jono and Ben prank, and someone was going to leap out and go, "Hey, guy, you thought that guy was a real person.
Yeah, you thought he was that hairy.
You thought he was really that hairy and disgusting. No, this is a Jono and Ben show." But actually, Jono and Ben did not pop out because that was a true.
Yeah.
You were that person.
And then her eyes went from my shoulders up to the mirror and saw my face looking at her face, so I totally snapped her. I totally caught her, and then she like kind of like looked away and started trying to like continue whatever her conversation was.
As I was saying mid word before, I got distracted there.
And she wasn't far away. She wasn't like on the other side of the room. She was like directly behind me because she had to walk like right past me. So it was real close. It was like an intimate moment of disgust.
Yep.
So that was good. So that's cool. Where I'm at.
Well, the interesting thing about that is, I see your hairy shoulders all the time.
And I'm still disgusted.
Oh, I am still disgusted by them. I am like, fuck, they're gross. And I'm always like, if I was your partner, I would make you shave those. I would really be like, no, I'm just sorry. They're just too disgusting. Like, I can't
be like lying up against it. I can't be running my hands through that. I can't visually witness this all the time. It's too much for me. You expect me to shave my box. Now you shave your fucking shoulders.
Well, the thing is...
This is disgraceful.
In reality, though, that isn't actually what you would want. If you had to sleep with me every single day and snuggle up... I wanted to snuggle up with you at night, every night, and I'm all spiky as fuck. You know, all spiky, ingrown hairs, pimples like on my back, in the middle of my chest, and all this shit where I get rid of all the hair. You know, it's horrible. It's disgusting and horrible. Like pimply, gross, ingrown hairs combined with sandpaper-esque body. You know, like I've removed the hair before. When you're having sex
for the aesthetics.
No, but when you're having sex, you know, the last thing you want is to be getting spiked with every thrust. You know?
Well, yeah, but I'm not really saying your chest, because that is actually moderately normal for a human being.
You're just talking about the shoulders.
I'm more talking about the shoulders of the back. Yeah.
Shoulders in the back, yeah. Yeah.
Also, you know, like, I can relate on a much lesser degree in the sense that, you know, I also have hairy shoulders, somewhat hairy back, right? And, you know, occasionally I get rid of that for my girlfriend, and it looks much better for all involved, but also she's definitely like, yeah, that's better. That's a real, you know, upgrade. Thank you. Well, look, we should probably do this more.
See, I'm fighting. I'm raging against the machine, man. What I'm doing is I'm making hairy shoulders cool again. All right, so this is why. I mean, when I walk to the gym, I don't wear a t-shirt on the way to the gym. Then take off my wife beater to put on my wife beater when I get there. I just go to the gym. I just wander around. It's summertime. I just wander around, hairy shoulders out.
And you heard it here first, guys. You know, Harley is all equal rights. So he's saying he's going hairy shoulders. You can go hairy legs, hairy armpits, hairy anything you want. Because, you know, otherwise it wouldn't be fair. So that's what he's essentially saying to anyone, including his girlfriend. So that's good. Well, you're striking one for the rights, mate. Yeah. I support that.
Well, look, maybe it's because I haven't experienced it for a long time, but, you know, if Angie wanted to grow out her leg hairs and her armpits, you know, I'd actually probably let her. Well, not that I have any say in it. It's not my fucking body.
Yeah, well, it's not really a matter of a say, it's more a preference, I think is the issue here. So yeah, well, that's cool. What else?
I didn't get the chance to talk about this, but I entered a stand-up comedy competition, and I should find out pretty soon if I made it to the next round. And I honestly absolutely nailed the qualifying round. It was like the best performance I've ever done, probably across either genre of poetry or comedy. Like, this is probably my greatest stage performance ever, and totally smashed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Just to go back to the hairy thing again, because I kind of missed my point a little bit, in that if I'd never seen you before, right?
Yeah.
And I saw you at the gym, I would stop talking. You know, I'd be mid-talk and I'd go,
what?
And then and this is what I always wonder about, is that I would stare at you multiple times and go, that's crazy. I don't think that was a real thing. I don't think people could get that hairy. not in real life. And then I'd think about it, and then I'd have to go away and go, man, I like to a friend, just another random person. And I just wonder how many people have had this conversation about you from this. Is like, man, I saw the hairiest guy at the gym today. You wouldn't believe how hairy he was. I wanted to take like a photo, but I couldn't really do it subtly enough just to show you how hairy. Like, you wouldn't believe it. So you'd have. I just wonder how many people have that conversation, and then also follow up by, and he was in like a ballet class. It's just weird.
Yeah, well,
it's just really weird.
Look, I guarantee that people are talking. Because I can walk into any room on any given day
And turn heads.
and turn heads. and I can know with 99% confidence that I am the hairiest person in any given room on any given day.
Yep.
And that's my cross to bear. It's my cross to bear. But I guarantee that the people, I mean, for example, the staff members at my gym, they've never said anything. They've never made any comment about it
Because
or anything
they're
like
not
that.
meant to be judgy.
Exactly.
They're not meant to be that's a real big thing at the gyms. You can't hassle anyone for being overweight or
anything physical because you're there to better yourself anyway.
Yeah.
Right? They've never said anything, but I guarantee, surely when I'm not around, they'll be like, something, that guy, when they're referring to me, they'll say the hairy guy, or they'll say hairy Harley, I reckon, because they always remember my name. So it makes me think, well, how'd they do that? I know how they did it. Fucking, God damn it, Harley. What's the word for when you have
word
words,
association?
No, words that all start with the same letter.
Assonance?
Yeah, maybe. Assonance? Might be. I don't know. Maybe Emmy will know. So anyway, Hairy Harley. That's how they'll remember me.
Yeah.
For sure. I guarantee that people are talking. I guarantee that the women are talking about me.
I also wonder if they've had a conversation, like the gym people.
Like, should we tell them to put a t-shirt on?
Yeah, one, should we tell him to put a t-shirt on? Two, should we tell him that the ballet class is actually for women only?
But it's not.
I know.
It's not, because men go to it. Other men, not very often. It's generally only me. But other men do go to it. But I make a point. I make a real point of not talking to anybody at the ballet class and not leering too lecherously at the ladies. And the reason why is because obviously I don't want to. I just want to preemptively. I want to avoid any issues. Because if one lady comes up to the they go, "Oh, was that guy okay? Is he? I'm a bit uncomfortable. I'm a bit uncomfortable about that kind of person being around my ballet class. They could end up being like, oh yeah, okay, maybe that is a problem.
Yeah, they could definitely. Also,
so I preemptively don't talk to anybody. I just creepily stand in the corner.
Yeah, silent,
doing perfect pirouettes.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
But anyway, you went to the comedy, did a good job, and you find out soon.
Yeah, basically, find out soon, did a good job, and I think that was pretty much. Oh, that's right. I was rehearsing before the performance. I was rehearsing, and I had my window open, and there's this bit in my bit where I say, she's talking about foreplay. I'm trying to maintain an erection. And I yelled that bit. I'm trying to maintain an erection.
Yeah.
Exactly as somebody walked past my window. So they just would have been walking past my room and they would have heard me in there yelling, I'm trying to maintain an erection.
A classic Seinfeld George Costanza moment.
It was. I'm having a wank. I'm by myself in my room having a wank. And I'm yelling at myself for belittling my own erection and wanting too much foreplay with myself. Something like that.
That's good. Well, is it time to open up the Uber files?
Oh, fuck. I hope so.
So, obviously, as you know, I'm a driver by night. I like to imagine myself as Ryan Gosling in Drive. Like, that's how I like to picture myself appearing to other people as I pick them up on the Uber.
I picture you more like Jake Gyllenhaal in that movie where he follows around ambulances late at night.
Oh, honestly,
that's what I think of you.
It is probably more like that. Or like Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Where I'm like I'm a pretty crazy creep.
Yeah.
Picking people up and then taking underage girls to porn movies.
Which is something you do reasonably regularly on Friday nights on K Road.
15-year-old prostitutes
from K
Road to walk-in movie theaters where they're showing porn.
Yeah. Well, they've got booths on K Road where you can watch
actually do
DVDs. We booth and have a whack on K Road in the viewing booths. You seen those?
What, in the sex stores or?
Well, yeah, like there's signs outside that says like viewing booths, and you can hire a porno and have a wank because you don't have any internet on your phone or something, I guess.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Like, that seems like, that practice would have been like, basically, now the internet exists.
Yeah.
And now all that stuff is like, look, you don't have to go into some creepy booth in the middle of nowhere.
Jerk off, where literally thousands of other men have jerked off for years before you. Years and years. Since the 80s.
Carrying on to the strong tradition of men.
Well, your dad used to jerk off.
Your dad used to jerk
when he was a boy. When he was a man in his 30s.
33-year-old man going on 34 when he was that age. And he used to whack off in these booths. Yeah, you'd feel like they've gone out of date, but I guess people are just out on their day-to-day business and they're like, I can't go home. I've got the comfort of the booth. I know that I won't be disturbed. I don't know.
I reckon it's also like, surely there are some people, perhaps poorer people, that are hanging around on K Road around those areas anyway. Maybe they're like homeless and so on, or at least kind of only partially employed. I don't know. And you're like, well, I don't have the internet at home, and I don't have a smartphone. And I don't really even maybe they live in a communal living space.
But what I do have is this
booth.
raging erection.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was thinking about that as a point, right? But the issue is like, okay, how much does a top-up broadband cost?
Yeah.
On your phone versus how much does one of these wank booths cost?
Yeah.
Yeah. And which is actually cheaper? Probably the extra data.
Yeah, you'd have to have a
top tip, guys.
Top tip.
Just top up your data.
There's absolutely no doubt that it is obviously a doomed business because...
Well, it's probably definitely diminished since its heyday.
Yeah, well, I guess another thing too would be they've got to get rid of the whole hire a DVD thing, because it's like, well, so you hire a porn DVD. And then, well, what happens if you choose Asian teens, and then you get in there and you feel like German goo girls, then what do? You can't. You're going to go back out, zip your pants up and go back out and get another one. No, whereas like if you've got the internet, it's all there at your fingertips, right? So what they need to do is just connect it up to the booth is just connected to the internet. There's just a screen in there with the internet, and that you can look up whatever you want.
Well, look, Harley, this is the perfect opportunity for some Pigville podcast research.
Okay.
You got to get in there, mate.
I got to go have a wank.
You've got to go test out one of these wank booths.
not have a wank, just go and investigate for the listeners.
Yeah,
but no wank.
Well, no, you would probably end up wanking because you paid to do that.
You did pay to go.
It would be silly to not.
The Wank Chronicles.
The Wank
is
Chronicles.
The new segment. The Wank Chronicles. I don't know, guys. If I could, I don't know how my girlfriend would feel.
Well, safe in the knowledge that you're
just wanking
in a booth. Completely content in the knowledge that you're wanking in a booth in the red light district of K Road.
Yeah. Well, I'll mull it over.
You'll run that one by it. But for research purposes, we've got into this topic now. We need a definitive conclusion. I reckon it's a touch screen, no pun intended, where you basically do pick and you can stop things and go back, or it's like a menu of a bunch of stuff in it. But who knows? We don't know because we haven't done it.
Yeah.
Well, we need these answers.
We do. If any of the listeners
been
know,
to a wank booth, just write it below in the comments.
Yeah, well, look, you can let us know on facebook.com/Guy and Harley. You can message me. I promise that if you would like it to remain anonymous, it will remain anonymous. We will call you Joe X. Something like that.
But anyway, back to the Uber file. So I'm driving around like Ryan Gosling in Drive, being cool. I don't have one of those cool jackets, but I do stare longingly off into the distance and don't make conversation with people. That's the similarity. So anyway, I was driving around and I heard, I'm just going to break down this conversation. This is exactly what I heard as I pulled up my Uber to pick someone up. How dare you? How fucking dare you, you fucking slut? I am not a fucking rapist. I do not rape anyone. So fucking go fuck yourselves. You can all go fucking die, okay? Enters the car. Hey, I hope you didn't hear any of that.
What, was it a gay man or a woman?
It was a gay man.
It was a gay man?
Yeah.
Oh. That explains the voice.
Yeah. So I was like, so now I've got this rapist in my car.
So now you've got a gay rapist in your car.
I've got a gay rapist in my car, and I'm like, and he was obviously really drunk. He also had a moustache like
a gay rapist moustache.
Freddie Mercury. Yeah. So I wasn't worried about being raped. Let's clear that up right now.
You weren't worried?
No, because
that's how it happens.
I could overpower this man. And also, I don't think, unfortunately, I don't think it's Uber drivers getting raped too often.
So it's the other way around.
The other way around sometimes, from what I've read in the news. Jesus. But anyway, so I was like, oh, fuck. Because he was so drunk as well. And I was, when you're like, oh, how's this going to go? I just want to get this man to wherever he's going as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So what'd you do?
So anyway, I started driving and he was like, hey, I know you. And I was like, no.
That guy picked him from Pigville Productions. Don't you want a countdown ad?
And I was like, no, you don't know me. He's like, no, I fucking know you, man. I fucking know you. You're famous. You're like you're like Mr. Hollywood. Mr. Hollywood, what are you doing driving an Uber? And I was like, clearly, you have mistaken me. You really think I'm someone I'm not. And he's like, no, were you on the block or, like one of those reality things? And I was like, no, I've never been on anything. You haven't seen me from anything. Like, really, stop fucking bugging me, mate. You're winding me up now.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. And he's like, no, I know. You're a fucking director. The zombie film. You directed the zombie film. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I was an extra. I was one of the zombies.
In Dunedin?
And I was
or
like,
up here?
No, in Dunedin.
Yeah.
I was like, in Dunedin. He's like, yeah. I went to see the film, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, cool, man. Thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate that. So, this is what happens sometimes. You can't choose your fans. This gay rapist was not only did know me and was familiar with my work, he had actually been in it. He'd been a fucking extra in the zombie film. He's like, I was sweating. He was like, I was freezing my ass off out in the fucking cold of like fucking -3 degrees with fucking syrup poured all over me. And I was like, oh yeah, well, bloody good effort. Appreciate that. Thank you.
I wonder what his name was.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I could maybe only find out his first name, obviously.
Yeah.
Through the Uber app.
Not that I know every single extra.
Oh, you wouldn't know this guy because it wasn't an underage female that you could flirt with and scoff lollies and have some jokes with.
I'll have you know that the females I was flirting with and scoffing lollies with were for the most part
were primarily overage. Over 16, for sure.
Over 18.
Definitely over 16. Not over 18 in many instances.
That's not true. The overwhelming majority of extras on our shoot were over 18. I will have you know.
It was probably a 50-50 split.
There was very few 17-year-olds that I hung out with.
Well, I remember there was like a particularly hot, it was like my favorite zombie extra.
Yeah. Who's on the wall right now, if I'm not mistaken.
No, there's that one too.
Oh.
She's hot as well. Yeah. But why is she on my wall, you would ask?
Yeah, you would ask.
That's a good question.
Yeah, why is there a picture of one of the extras on Guy's wall?
Above his computer.
Above his computer.
That's a good question. You'd be right to ask that. And the answer is it's actually a painting of that extra,
fan art,
painted by our friend and lead actress in the film, Jocelyn Christian. So it's actually one of my favourite presents that anyone's ever... You know, when you do get older, it's certainly true that you appreciate different things. So, like, back in the day, if someone had given me a painting, I would have gone, fuck this. A fucking painting? What am I going to do with this?
I wanted a game. I wanted a video game.
Exactly. I wanted a game, Dad. I didn't want a picture representing all your love for me. Fuck. But as you get older, actually, it's those things that you get a real kick out of, I find.
Well, yeah.
And so this one in particular is a picture of the zombie. But anyway, the zombie extra that I had a crush on.
Yeah.
Someone revealed to me, like, sort of halfway through the shoot, they're like, yeah, she's 15. And I was like, good. Moving on. Probably don't need to shoot this close-up of her anymore.
Probably
thank you very much.
Probably don't need this breast close-up anymore.
Thank you. I'm out of here.
Well, she'd be 21 or so now, mate.
Oh, yeah, look, right now, if I wasn't happily in a relationship with a beautiful woman, sponsor of this podcast, I would definitely look into that. I would definitely see if I could face stalk and go, hey, there's like good times, on the old zombie
I
set.
wonder which one she was.
She was the girl with the big eyes. I think I just liked her...
Giant set of eyes.
You definitely know her if you saw her. I think I liked her look as a zombie as well. So what I'm saying is that dead people turn me on.
Guy's dead fetish. Guy's fetish for dead teenagers.
dead underage teenagers.
Oh, dear.
Oh, shit.
Oh, we've gone off the rails again. Oh, shit. Definitely sound bites from this one are coming back to haunt us.
Oh, yeah. They really are. No, it's bad.
So anyway, why were we talking about the dead teenagers?
She wasn't dead.
The dead teenager that you liked? What was
She was a zombie extra, and this gay rapist was a zombie extra.
Got it.
Hence the connection there.
Yeah, it all fits. Hey, speaking of gay rapists, now, as we all know, as long-time listeners know, I played a gay rapist not that long ago in a feature film.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing that happened that I kind of forgot to mention, like I went on set and I didn't know that I was playing a gay rapist, but I also didn't know that I was doing a very near nude scene, but not me nude. The actress was nude.
Right.
And I had no idea. Like we were filming that day, and then I was like, okay, here's the scene. And I'd read the scene, obviously.
And you were like...
But I didn't realize that the scene... Like, it was like a medical situation where I was the doctor and I hold all the cards, I hold all the power, and there's this patient who... It's an asylum, so this patient is there, and I have all the authority. And I'm sort of... I'm not, like, overtly lecherous, but I'm just uncomfortable and sort of objectifying, and I stand there looking at her for entirely too long, and that type of thing.
100% channeling your ballet class.
Yeah.
Sense memory to your ballet class.
I was. And so that... but yeah, well, anyway, the point is I didn't know was that it was... Not only was there a gay rape scene, but there was this panties scene where she was just wearing panties, no top. And was kind of standing there uncomfortably in front of me, and as I had to kind of march around, like writing things on my clipboard and that type of thing. So yeah, I didn't know. Is that dangers and perks of the acting industry?
Well, also, you were like, this is weird. Normally we've scoffed lollies and had chats on set before this stage. And also, speaking of panties, I caught one of our flatmates walking around in the kitchen in her panties the other week. Yeah. Well, that does sometimes happen.
Does sometimes happen. Flat life.
Flat life. What else is going on?
So your commercial, you were in a countdown commercial.
Yep.
We spoke about this last week, and I've shared it now on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley, and you can see it there. And
if you want to judge my source
Yeah. Well, so now
pouring skills.
Guy mentioned that the source continuity was all out because of the way they had to shoot around it and blah, 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 blah. Well, our former flatmate and a friend of mine from work, Ben, he actually saw that ad and didn't know you were in it. And noticed the hand continuity was all out of whack.
It's pretty blatant.
And then he realised it was you, and that obviously made it even funnier. But I went back and watched the ad again, and it is really fucked. I noticed that it goes from the right hand to the left hand to the right hand, and the bottle appears to change. Did you use two different bottles at any point?
No.
Or is it possible they did an insert with a different bottle? Because the bottle almost looks like a different bottle in one of the shots.
I think it's just the bottle sort of turned the other way.
Right, okay.
I'm pretty sure they didn't shoot an extra insert. It's also, they very rarely do stuff like that on ads.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're trying to, obviously they're trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Because
it goes from right to left to right.
Yeah.
That's 3 changes in 1.5 seconds.
Well, the interesting thing is, because I started off, I think this is how it happened, is I started off doing it with one hand, which was more natural, and then we changed halfway through because they thought it would be better using the other hand. And then we changed positioning of it, and they may have I feel like they may have even flopped the shot, which is basically where you reverse the shot. You don't reverse the so it's not going backwards, but it's basically mirrored.
Yeah,
so the shot
they mirror the shot.
So you puts it on the opposite side, and I don't know why, but I feel like they've done that for some reason.
Right.
Because
there was a mirrored shot in the zombie film at some point, wasn't there?
There's quite a few.
Yeah, where my scar jumps from one side of my face to the other side.
Basically, it happens all the time in movies. Well, it never used to, because you never used to be able to do this, but it happens a lot more in movies now when you fuck up your eye line and you're looking the wrong way off camera. So you flop the shot and it looks like you're looking the right way. That's where it happens the most.
But your face is ever so slightly wrong.
Yeah.
It's backwards. It's like a mirror. It's like looking in the mirror.
It looks weird, although it shouldn't look weird to you because you've already...
Because you only ever look at your face in the mirror.
So you've always seen your face like this.
Yeah.
So you're probably like, my face looks weird in 1,500 other shots except this one.
Yeah.
But this one I look normal. What happened? So, yeah, I'll have to re-look at it again. I did look at it a couple of times, and I was like, yeah, that's some pretty jumpy cuts right there. But, the ketchup debacle, guys, I'm telling you.
Ketchup-gate.
Ketchup-gate on the ad. Ruined the ad. Ketchup-gate.
There's a Christian apologist that really wants to debate me. He's Auckland-based, and he's like a scholarly fellow. Who does lots of debates and who is he's obviously a very intelligent person, but he's just on the wrong side of the argument. But he's several times been trying to hit me up to do a public debate with him in a bar, like on a stage.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy. Like, it's pretty mad. I've politely declined so far because it's like, it's like, well, let me get this straight. You want me to waste my time debating with you about whether or not your imaginary friend is real?
Yeah,
it's pretty outrageous. If you break it down, it's like, I don't believe in the God you're talking about, so we can't really debate whether or not he's real. We can only debate whether or not your imaginary friend is real from my perspective. It's pretty crazy. But he's hit me up a whole bunch of times. And the thing is that online we keep on having these sparring matches, on Facebook, where I'll comment something or he'll comment something. And then, but the thing is that I keep on dominating him quite soundly. But it's not because I'm smarter than him. I think he's smarter than me. I think that he's a more intelligent person than me. I think that he's got 2 disadvantages. One, I've been training since I was 13 to be a smart ass. Alongside you.
Yeah.
So that obviously has given me an advantage.
Yeah. You've been training a long time, to make snarky remarks, snarky pointed remarks.
Yeah.
disassembling someone else online.
Yeah.
Your whole life has been building up to this point. This is really one of your core skills now.
Well, it is. It actually is. It is something that I can rely on. But yeah, and so I've been training for all that time, and then also he's smarter than me, and he's all like university educated and all that stuff, and I'm like, I barely passed high school. But the issue is that he's fighting from a flawed position. He's fighting from the illogical and flawed position, which is that God's real, and it's like at the end of the day, no matter what you say, I can disassemble it because you've got zero evidence for any of your claims.
You have facts.
I've got facts, exactly.
And science.
And logic.
And logical conclusions based off, is it empirical evidence?
It might be empirical, I don't know.
I don't know either. But that's the thing, that's what you've got. So
yeah, exactly. So it's hard for me to lose, and it's hard for him to win.
Yeah.
Because he's arguing from a flawed position. If he was arguing for the existence of God, well, then we'd have a much better, I don't know, well, it'd be hard for us. We'd both be arguing the same point, I guess. But yeah, anyway, so that's that. And then on a related note, obviously my poem Gravity has been on the internet for a little while now. It's done pretty well online, and it's all about religion and my lack of belief in it. And these two evangelical Christian guys from America made an hour-long podcast, but you can watch it, like it's over Skype, and they recorded it, and it's on YouTube. It's an hour long, dedicated entirely to dissecting and debunking my poem. It's pretty epic.
Gravity debunked.
That's more or less what they should be trying to do. And so, but yeah, I was a bit nervous when I first saw it. Like, I was like, oh fuck, what's this? Like I was worried that I was going to get my poem disassembled by a weighty intellectual argument, Yeah. And I was concerned about that because it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not a scholar, right? I'm not educated. I'm just a guy who, I went to Wikipedia and Wineglass University, that's where I got my doctorate. And so
it's quite good.
And so yeah, I was a bit concerned, but I watched it, and honestly, it was exactly what you'd expect. It was just terrible, like all sorts of false conclusions being jumped to, and them like taking things I had said and trying to turn it into something it wasn't, and stuff like that. And so if you can bear it, you can watch it. Facebook.com/Guy and Harley. I'll share it there.
Which you won't be able to bear it.
You won't be able to bear it. I got through it all, but of course it's about me. Yeah. And even I struggled. I struggled, and it's about me. So yeah. One of them's quite angry, though. One of them's a real angry dude. One of them's more calm. He's like, oh yeah, so he's an entertainer from New Zealand who does poetry and decided to speak out on this. And the other one's like, atheists shouldn't be allowed to work. And I don't know if he said work. He definitely said like vote and stuff like that. And he was saying that atheists should have less rights than theists because we don't believe in any of the supernatural deities. And it's so ridiculous. There's like there's thousands of deities currently in existence, or he only believes in one, and yet he's trying to say that why isn't he saying that Muslims aren't allowed to work? They equally don't believe in his God, as much as I don't believe in his God. Where's the logic, guys? Where's the logic?
Well, I'm sure you can bring that up to them why don't you find their Facebook and post a snarky comment?
Well, no, if I was going to do anything, I guess I would do sort of a retort vlog. Yeah, just a little one. Like I wouldn't do an hour long. It'd be 5 minutes or 3 minutes. It'd be like, hi guys, thanks for making a video. Here's why you're wrong. Here's why you're stupid. I'll see you next week when you reply. And that's just content. YouTube beef. That's what you want. You want to get traffic. You want to get money. YouTube beef. It's the way to go. The problem is I'm trying to think of a good poetry name for my YouTube channel. Like I haven't found a name that I like, and so I can't really promote it until I think up a name that represents me as a poet. That I like Prince EA. Okay. What's my Prince EA? What is it? The poetic primate. I don't mind that. The poetic primate.
That's not bad because it references your heariness.
It references my heariness.
Which is important.
It is. Well, because the way that came about was I was like, oh, the hairy poet. And I was like, well, the poetic primate's better. And then I was like, well, it means that I can use my hairy shoulders as a brand, right? It means I can do poems with my hairy shoulders out, and that can be my thing on the internet, the fucking hairy poet. And I do reference history and the Paleolithic and these types of things in my poems, and so
you
it
reference
fits.
all the history that you read up on Wikipedia.
That I read up on Wikipedia, that I learned at Wikipedia and Wineglass University. Exactly, right? Yeah. So I do often in my poems refer to prehistory and these types of things, and so it just totally makes sense. Like, it actually totally fits. So I'm sort of toying with the poetic primate. But if anybody has any suggestions, I'm all for it. I mean, it's a bit of a mouthful, It's 3 words, Prince EA. I don't really like that name. What's the EA for?
Yeah. Well, EA, it's in the game. It's EA Sports.
Right.
It's EA, the game company. It's dumb.
He does poetry about video games.
He does poetry about exceptional soccer games.
Yeah. And I could use my real name. I could just be Harley Neville, and that would be fine. But I also kind of want to distance my acting persona from my poetry persona, because I want to be able to say whatever the fuck I want as a poet without feeling like it's going to affect too much my ability to get cast in a fucking
without
ad.
Offending all the deeply religious people that seem to run Hollywood.
Yeah, well, exactly. There you go.
Good luck with that.
Good luck.
I wouldn't want, if I was you, I would definitely not want to be cast in a big film and the director was a Christian. I would really not want that poem like turning up at, like, you guys are all out for dinner, like you like, it's the first day, you've just shot this on this big massive sound stage, $200 million feature film, and the director's a lovely guy, he's a nice guy, and he invites you out for dinner and you get to chatting, and then someone brings up, because that's also the other thing, is like, I reckon on that scale, that's where you get to the backstabbing. Like, that's where you get to the politics. Like, that's not all for one for all. Like, lots of actors are trying to sabotage other actors when they work with them. Unfortunately, on that scale, from the stories that I've heard. Not always, obviously, and not everyone. And, I certainly haven't really experienced, like, actors trying to sabotage other actors. But I could definitely see it. For many reasons, and someone just brings up, Harley did this. He's like, thank God for this great day that we've just had, and this beautiful dinner that I'm paying for with this 5-star restaurant. And you're like, yeah. And then someone's out like, no, Harley doesn't actually believe in God. He fucking did a whole bomb on it, actually. Like 5 minutes, just fucking destroying it. Like, oh, eventually, look, I've got it on my phone. Here, let's play it. Everyone, let's play it. Pass it around.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there squirming, shitting your pants, and the director's face is just getting sourer and sourer until it fucking final cherry of the fucking apple from the tree gravity reference, and he's done.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's not quite a $200 million production, but I do have some moderate concerns, which is that this short film I've been cast in at the end of the month, the director of that is a religious fellow, and he's nice. He's a nice guy, just like you say. Nice guy, religious. Yep. And so it does concern me. Somebody posted something on my wall the other day. It was like some anti-religion thing, right? Which I haven't posted anything anti-religion. I don't post much anti-religion stuff. But somebody posted something on my wall. So if you go to my wall, there's just like some anti-religion thing there, and it's like, I've just been cast in this awesome film, and I really want to be involved with it, and I don't want any sort of issues or problems. And so, I mean, I don't imagine. I mean, like, for the guy knows already. He's known me for a couple of years, so he knows already my stance on it, and chose to cast me anyway. So it should be sweet. But yeah, I mean, it was I was like, I better be careful about that.
Yeah.
Don't want to go just burning bridges,
Just tread a little careful on that.
I burn bridges just to light my way.
That's a good. What's that from?
I made it up.
Did you?
Yeah.
You can write that down.
I did. So I
did.
Mate, I write all of this shit down. Anytime you hear me say anything clever on the podcast,
you thought of it well in advance.
Well in advance. This shit's all in the bank.
You're reading from a script now.
It's all in the bank. I swear.
It's like a multiple choice script where whatever guy says, and you've got like one witty answer for it, and you go witty answer, dad joke.
Yeah. Well,
what shall I go with?
I'm absolutely not kidding. I've got a dad joke like actually written in my notes here that I'm just waiting for the opportunity to use it.
Just bring that
just
on
comes
us.
up just when it comes up. Yeah. And I actually did another other one earlier on in this conversation. I can't even remember what it was now, but it was actually a sentence that I had pre-written. Just potentially to use as a poem, potentially for the podcast, potentially for a status update, for anything like that, which I think actually brings us to quite an interesting point, which is that the likes of Eminem and, any good improvisation actor as well, that's what they do, So there's that whole thing of like, oh, he's freestyling, and, this, it's not really freestyling, it's taking a whole bunch of pre-written things and adapting them to the current situation and inviting in bits and pieces from your surroundings, but actually you've pre-written a bunch of those themes and ideas and rhymes.
Or also, I think this is an interesting point to make about improvisation on film. There's very rarely true improvisation on film, where someone just says some random shit and you go, oh, that's great, I'll buy it. What actually happens is, as you're rehearsing or practicing, you start throwing out different lines or different ways to word things or a different thing to kind of cap the scene off. And through time and progression, you get to a point where whatever you've come up with is marginally better than what's been written. And then they go, oh yeah, let's do that. And let's shoot it all completely as if it was scripted, but you're just saying this extra bit. And everyone goes, he's a master improvisationalist, and it's like, not really, like, and also, if your base is a very well-written script, and then you, like, that's really pretty good groundwork to start off with. And then if you can, like, just build, like, little cappers on top of that, that's great. But that's far from having, like, nothing good and then coming up with something brilliant to turn the whole thing around. That's not really how it works.
Also, my experience on set is that I do think of a bunch of ideas beforehand. Like, I'll read over the script and I'll learn it one way, I'll learn it how it's written. Or close to, and then I'll also think of a whole bunch of potential options to offer on the day for improvs, and obviously by definition they're not really improvs, because you have thought of them beforehand. But then you do it anyway, right? You get there, and on the day, oftentimes in my experience particularly on these low budget shoots, it's like there's just no time. It's like stick to the script, or like you can't just if they go action and then you change the lines, and it's like, okay, well, that's great. If they like it, then awesome, then great. It was all worth it. You gambled and won. But if they don't like it, well, you've just wasted everyone's time. It's like, reset. The actor didn't do his part. The actor didn't say his... You set up the lights properly. You put on the makeup properly. Actor didn't do his lines properly.
Gotta go again.
Everybody reset. We'll be here for another 20 minutes. Add 20 minutes to the end of the day.
Thank you, Harley.
So, yeah, I mean, like, when you get people like, I don't know, say Johnny Depp or someone like that, who probably does improvise quite a bit, I don't know, he obviously is doing it under circumstances that are a lot more, I guess, a bit more forgiving and allowing of his... mucking around.
Well, also, there's the thing is, like, if you're like films, like big films move at a glacial pace, they're trying to shoot like 2 minutes a day. We're trying to shoot like 10 minutes a day, 10 to 15 minutes a day. And also, like, if the time it takes to set up a shot is an hour or 20 minutes, that's a real long time in between shots where you can chat with the director and go, hey, this line here, I was thinking this, I was thinking that. And they go, yeah, let's try it. You do a little rehearsal. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go with it. I'm a master improviser. We're really, when you're shooting low budget, it's like, okay, how long do we have till the next shot? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was thinking that doesn't matter. Get in position.
Yeah.
We need you to get the focus, so shut up for a second.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, improvisation is great in films. And I always enjoy, like, my favorite part of filmmaking a lot of the times is when we take whatever was planned and make it slightly different and slightly better. That's kind of my goal for each scene. And I do like it when actors have ideas about how to do that. I love that, as long as they don't have a million ideas.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is like, you got to be focused. You can't just be going, well, what if I did it like this, and it's like,
listen, mate, we've got to match these cuts later on and the edit and everything. Because that's the other thing with the improv is like, once you've done the take a few times, you do it in the wide, you do it in the whatever, and then you're like, hey, I'll start doing some improv. Yeah. And it's like, no, you can't be doing different stuff to what you were doing in the other wider shots.
Otherwise, we have to go back and reshoot that stuff.
We have to reshoot the wider shots.
And sometimes it's worth it to do that if you've got the time and if you've struck upon some gold. But I just think there is this big, misunderstanding about improvisation in all areas, that it's just this thing that just pops into your head, pops out of your mouth.
It's genius.
And it's genius, and we all sit back and applaud, and of course I'm sure there are people like that, but I think a lot of the time it's sort of a refining process.
I actually think that even those people that are like that, like if it's Jim Carrey or whoever, they do actually... It's still all made up beforehand.
And he's had 3 hours in his trailer to think about that.
Yeah, and like, for example, I was watching an interview with George Carlin the other night, and it was a comfortable interview in his home kind of thing, and they were asking him his opinions on things, and he was giving his opinions, and it was great. But the thing is that as someone who's watched quite a bit of his shows, quite a few of his shows, I recognised bits that he was using from the stage, but he was falling into bits as he went in this casual conversation in the lounge, and it's like that's that same thing. It's like it seems like he was just saying, if you had never seen any of his shows, you would just go, this guy's a fucking genius. He's just making this up as he goes, and it's just so profound. But in reality, it's not. It's something he's been kicking it around for years and years and years and years, and he's done it. He's said it 1,000 times before. What he's gotten good at is making it seem like he's not.
Yeah. Same thing with Kevin Smith's Q&A, where he does Q&A, but all the questions lead into his stories that he's already prepared.
Yeah.
And he'll swap out stories and he'll swap out things, but he's got a basic structure. And at the end of it, he goes, brilliant, I'm walking away feeling inspired. I think he's so smart. And it's like, well, he is, but, he didn't just, come up with that shit tonight.
Yeah. So... lesson for any aspiring creatives out there.
Everyone's a lot dumber than you think.
Exactly. You've got hope. So
exactly. So don't give up. Because everyone's a lot dumber than you think.
And write down all of your little one-liners, all of your ideas, and then one day, at an appropriate time, when something comes up, you'll be able to just fall back on that and use it, and it'll seem like you're a smart guy who's just shooting shit off the cuff, when in reality, this shit is well rehearsed.
This might be the best piece of film advice, like this filmmaking section, the best piece of advice, best knowledge we've ever passed on this podcast. It really might be.
Really? Recycling the old idea that improv people actually write shit down beforehand.
Well, yeah.
I guess it's if you don't know it though, it's
well, if you don't know,
it is very helpful.
I didn't know it to begin with. I didn't really understand that concept.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand.
Same. I was like, oh fuck. How do you freestyle rap? That's just crazy. Here I am. Here's my thick shake container. I'm sitting at Guy's desk, and we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
That was an honest attempt. Honest attempt at freestyle hip hop.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. But I also do think that, like, the biggest danger of filmmaking is when you do get locked into the plan. You get locked into the plan, and so it's like, okay, we've rehearsed it a certain way, we've scripted it a certain way, we're going to shoot it a certain way, and you get there on the day, and people do have different ideas or ways to change it that will make it better, but you can't change your plans. You're like, it's too late, the train's on the tracks and I'm already going.
Yeah.
And like, this is going to throw my brain all out of whack for this scene and the next scene and the next scene. And like, I think as you get more experience as a director, you can definitely be a little bit more open to like, okay, that's better. Let's do it that way. Let me recalibrate in my head and adapt. As opposed to being like, oh, nah, it's not the way I imagined. There's a bit too much of that probably. It's not really the way I imagined in my head. I don't think it's not what I pictured. And it's like, yeah, but like when you bring together all these random what you pictured in your head, the question is it, or could it be better?
Well, speaking of movies, our movie, No Caller ID,
Yeah.
we got offered a sales deal.
Well, we've taken that sales deal.
Oh, this is news to me.
We'd rephrase that. We didn't get offered a sales
deal. We got a sales agent.
A sales agent.
Yeah.
Which is quite different.
Yeah, okay. But so here's... Okay, firstly, listeners, you're learning at the same time as me here because this is news to me.
Yeah.
I was going to say, here's what happened, and I wasn't going to go into too many details, obviously, is that we got offered a sales agent to represent our short film, No Caller ID. And what they do is they then take it around the world, selling it to people, and we get money if they buy it.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's a business, so they took on our film or wanted to take on our film because they saw value in it and saw potential for it to generate revenue. And so, but we had to say no, I thought, because No Caller ID is a part of our feature film, Older. It's it plays a minor part. We cut to some shots of No Caller ID in the greater film, which is Older, our feature film, and so it's a film within a film, but it's also a standalone film, if that makes sense. And so anyway, I was under the impression that we were going to have to say no, and that's what I was going to talk about because it was a part of Older, and we can't jeopardize potential sales of Older in the future for the sake of No Caller ID in the present. But evidently we've taken the deal.
But we've ignored all that.
Yeah.
And we've taken the deal. No, basically what happened is, so I raised these concerns with them.
With the sales agent.
And sort of talked through it point by point. And they sought advice from their lawyers and from a few different people. And they basically said it should be fine. So you don't need to worry about that. But let's do it just for New Zealand.
Yeah.
So, because we're very confident about New Zealand, but, maybe a bit,
with international laws and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So essentially we will just hopefully make some sales in New Zealand, and hopefully we can make some announcements about that in the future.
Yeah. That's pretty exciting because we now have 2 films with sales agents that are out there being sold to the world.
That's true.
It's pretty awesome.
I signed that contract just yesterday, actually, and had to drive that into town. And it was actually quite a lengthy contract to go over.
Right.
But,
did you take that contract to your mates at like the Directors Guild or any of those Writers Guilds or any of those?
Literally just signed it. Gave it away.
I don't see how that could go wrong.
Not an issue.
Absolutely not a problem.
Absolutely no worries there.
Won't be a problem.
0% verified by anyone. Literally ignored what the guild is there for. But actually, to be honest, the guild isn't because this is a contract as a sales agent.
It's not a director thing or a writer thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they would be like, why did you bring this to us?
Yeah. Stop wasting my time.
Basically, why are you always hanging around here, Guy?
You're not a real director.
Look, quite frankly, we're getting sick of reading your applications and having to reject them. Well, could you know how much time it takes to read one of your applications? Just stop handing them in, please. Because that would be a lot easier for all of us. On that note, have been rejected for 2 of these. So the film mentorship, which I did mention several podcasts ago, and mentioned that I'd look forward to being rejected for that. Well, that time has come now.
Yep.
So
celebration.
That's cool. So I think that's 5 or 6 years in a row. I have not been mentored by any filmmaking people.
Yeah.
And I also applied for producing. We're making Older. We've almost finished it. It's looking really good. We've potentially got a producer interested.
Yeah.
Perfect time to go on a producing course and learn all about the sales and distribution, the aspect of filmmaking that we are the least versed in.
Yeah.
You would think, but apparently not. Apparently there's, better people to give that to. So they'll be doing that and I won't be. And I'll be sitting here in my room in my computer and doing sweet fuck all.
Well, you'll be very busy. Actually.
I'll be very busy.
You won't be doing sweet. You'll be very busy.
But I won't
run off your feet.
But I won't be learning any producing.
Doing a lot of thankless tasks.
But I won't be.
You won't be doing any cushy producing courses with free lunches,
free scones,
and all that.
And a gluten or vegetarian option for those that would choose it.
According to the internet, I'm an extroverted introvert. And I reckon...
According to the internet, I'm a fucking angry cunt.
Well, I was going to say, you're probably a pissed off introvert, is what I'd call you. Is probably how I'd define you. So I'm an extroverted introvert, according to this silly thing. It was just some silly thing I read. Yeah. And it was saying that, I don't really like talking to people, and yet I don't have any problem talking to people. I can seem charming and friendly and all that stuff. But on the inside
you hate it.
Well, not hating it, but it's more like I've just got a very short not fuse for it, but a short amount of time for it before it's like, okay, cool. Well, this was nice, but I'm going to go and not talk to people now. Which is often how I feel. And yeah, so it's just a little aside there. Pissed off introvert. That's what I reckon you might be.
Possibly. Also, I was, at one stage in my life, quite extroverted person.
Same. It's slowly deteriorated.
The world has broken me.
Beaten you down.
The world has literally beaten the joy and happiness away, and so now I don't feel like trying to make everyone laugh anymore. I don't feel like trying to entertain people anymore, and I think primarily it's because I'm like, oh, what's the fucking point?
Well, I mean, I imagine
what the fuck is the point?
Well, I imagine in your position as well, it's like, well, I could sit here talking to you, or I could go away and do something which is actually productive and works towards my goals.
Yes.
And I get the impression from you that anything that isn't really directly advancing your filmmaking goals and career is somewhat superfluous.
So selfish.
Somewhat superfluous.
So single-minded.
It is selfish and it is single-minded, but it's also something that you need, if you want to become one of the greats, you've got to be like that. You've got to concentrate on your career full time, and
it's kind of an unfortunate necessity.
It is, yeah. And the
becoming
fact of the
a worse human being to be a better filmmaker.
Fuck. To quote King 810, a band that I have been thrashing the shit out of for 6 months or more.
Yeah.
The better I get at making this music, the worse I get at being a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's probably true.
Yeah.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't see many of my friends that often.
Yeah.
Don't really see them too often. But also...
Even me, we live together and we struggle to get an hour together to do the podcast once a week. We've been meaning to record some stuff for Lewis Roscoe. He's got a great animated series coming up called The Arksville Homicides. It's on Facebook. Go check it out. It's got an awesome new trailer which he just released today. And we have been meaning to record some voice stuff for him at the end of the podcast, and it's like every time it's like no time, we've got to go. Like, for example, today we've got to wrap this up soon. I've got to go to work. Got to go to work real soon.
No, we should wrap it up pretty soon. It is just one of those things. Time is at a premium. Time is at a real premium. And
if you were not putting all this time and effort into the nitty-gritty, thankless, hard tasks that filmmaking is 99% composed of, then we wouldn't be nearly as far as we are. Obviously, it's all your struggling behind the scenes that's really gotten Pigville this far and gotten Zombie Holocaust out. If you, as the director of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, had finished your directing and said, okay, cool, I'm just really mostly going to wash my hands of this, I'll supervise the edit,
I'll do all
along
the things,
someone else.
Yeah.
I'll fulfill my obligations, but I won't go above and beyond. I'll just do my obligations as a director. I actually sincerely believe that I Survived a Zombie Holocaust would either not be out and potentially would never come out, or it would be just an absolute real steaming pile of shit.
Yeah. I agree with both of those. I don't think it would be out, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be out either. It's like there's so many things that had to be done right from the beginning, like all the footage that hadn't been labeled, just all the clips that hadn't been labeled, they hadn't even been labeled due to a poor post-production workflow, which was not your fault
at all.
And it was like, oh, okay, well, I guess somebody needs to go through and label these 1,500 shots or, whatever it is. And nobody would have done that because you were the most invested person there. And if you weren't doing it, well, no one else was.
Well, I think that's the problem is like, why do you get down about filmmaking? Is like, well, I ask myself this. And it's like, because what is it that, like, you know, it's like, because on the one hand is like, I'm healthy, big plus, real happy that I'm healthy. I have really good friends, really happy with my friends. Really good friends, really smart people, all really lovely. Also known them for like, a lot of them for like 20 years, real enduring long friendships. Again, these are kind of the two things in your life, you know, apart from the exception of like sort of romance and stuff, that you look for in your life to have. You go, what about career? You go, well, that's, you know, the negative. I have two careers because I've got to make a living, and then I've got to, and filmmaking, and that is tough in the time management side of things, but it's still, you know, like, I am still living my dream. I am still doing what I dreamed of doing. And not only that, like, the fact that we have worked so hard to learn all aspects of filmmaking as opposed to just the ones that we like, has given us the freedom to, like, okay, well, yeah, it would be great if we got funding. It would be really take a lot of pressure off. But on the same token, we, in our lives, never have to get funding again from a point of view of, like, it obviously depends on what projects we pick. You know, there's some things that are just not feasible, but is it feasible for us to make projects that we really like and are passionate about until we die without ever getting funding? Yes, probably. Probably is. You know, and I guess that ups the personal sacrifice. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like I think of a story and then I get to make it. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to do it on a bigger scale without all the personal sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. When Older comes out, I got a feeling that'll help us. That'll bring it up. That's your second feature out.
That's the second feature.
You know, and it's looking really good. And so I do feel like it will raise your status a little bit, and I think that will help. You know, especially if Older makes if it turns a profit, if we turn a profit from Older. You know, that's great. I reckon that's going to sort of show potential investors that's like, oh, okay, hang on a minute. You know, these guys are capable of doing something, and, you know, potentially they are worthy of investing in.
Well, I think also it's that, you know, it's the 99% drudgery, which filmmaking is, that just hangs heavier as the years go by. You know, when you're 22, 23, 25, and you're doing like those incredibly tedious, boring, like fiddly, annoying, or even if you don't, because you don't know about them, you haven't learned about them yet, but you start doing those at the beginning, you go, yes, I'll do it, and it'll be great, and at the end, it'll be all worth it, because I survived a zombie holocaust is going to make $1 million, and I'm going to be a big shot director, and so it's all be worth it in the end, is the justification, and then after a certain point, you go, well, it may not be worth it in the end, but these
certainly not financial.
But these still have to be done.
Yeah.
So that, and I think it's the 99% sort of shitty jobs that the rich director does not have to concern himself with, which is the annoying part of all those positives, and the part that, for me, sometimes I just get up and I go, oh God, I just can't face the day. Like, I haven't played video games in a year. I just want to just sit down and have a day of video games. I just want that, but I can't, because I know I've got to do these things, and these things are important. They need to be done. But I miss video games. I really miss them.
Well, on that,
you go
on that real up note, now, look, I did just want to wrap up a couple of quick things.
Yep.
One, Hacksaw Ridge, with how I said they had a website at the beginning and I couldn't remember the website or the name of it or anything like that. It is called faithofdos.com.
Oh, shit.
Faith of DOS. I found it. Yep. So faithofdos.com, and that's what they were promoting at the beginning of the movie in the cinema.
And what... Have you gone to the website?
Yeah. It's a religious website for. He's like a Mormon or something, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was some sort of special type of freaky religion.
He, on the scale of religion, he was on the spectrum.
Yeah, he was. and he Faith of Doss. And I went along. It's not like overtly like the power of Christ compels you, but it is like it's like to learn more about the Faith of Doss. Like, here, we'll send you out some free booklets, and just put in your address here and blah blah blah. Faith of Doss. If anybody is interested in getting some indoctrination. Now, I also had something else to say here, which was that I met with Tyler from the Tyler and Luke podcast. Go and check them out. Tyler and Luke. They're a New Zealand filmmaking podcast. They do they interview celebrities and talk a lot about the entertainment biz and that type of thing. So if you're interested in that, and if our episodes are too far apart, go and check out Tyler and Luke. Tyler and Luke podcast, you'll find it. And anyway, Tyler, the website creator, is what I'm now calling him, because
Brilliant.
He is building a website for me.
Brilliant.
And so, Tyler, the website creator, I had a look at it, and it looks great. The site looks really awesome. I'm excited. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be harleyneville.com, and it's just going to be, it's all about the nevs, baby. It's all about the nevs. So that's exciting. Lest we forget about the nevs for a second. Those things. And then the final thing I wanted to say is that tomorrow, April 13th, it's my birthday.
The shocking thing is, I knew your birthday was coming up, and I know it's on April the 13th, and you just got a present today in the mail, and I literally thought in my head,
I better...
I didn't think... I was like, I better remember to wish him happy birthday in 2 weeks when his birthday is.
Yeah.
Like, in my head, I was like, we're at the start of April. That's at least a week away. It's actually tomorrow.
Yeah, it's literally tomorrow. So we're recording on April 12th. Hopefully you're listening on April 12th, but maybe the 13th.
Yeah, probably
the 15th.
Definitely the 13th to 14th.
Right. Well, it is my birthday tomorrow, and... look, it's tough times. My girlfriend is in LA. She's on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
I'm actually working tomorrow night on my birthday.
What time do you finish?
I'm working approximately like 4 till 10 or something like that tomorrow.
Interesting.
Not sure exactly. Why is that?
Well, I will finish my pro wrestling training and be home around 10.
Oh, so we could like...
Well, we could go for a beer.
All right. Well, that is literally the only birthday plan I have. That's it. I'm all on my lonesome. I've got no plan.
Fapping for days.
Well, look, that's a given. That's just an assumption. That's what it's been like since Angie left. I've got absolutely no plan. I'm doing absolutely nothing. I'm turning 34 years old, which is it's a nondescript, nothing type of birthday.
Well, it's just like, oh God, I'm so old.
Well, also it is like, at the end of the day, right, I am officially in my mid-30s. 31, 2, and 3, that's early. 4, 5, and 6, that's mid. Yeah. 7, 8, and 9, that's late. So I'm officially a man in his mid-30s.
I picture us as 25.
Yeah, I'm about 25 in my mind.
I reckon.
I reckon 29, 30. I reckon I'm around there.
Well, you had some revelations in your in your late 20s that I didn't really have any of those revelations. You've actually, I think, have changed more than me. In like from 20 to 30, you changed quite a lot more than I did. I think in my head, that's my perception of you. I love to get into all the annoying things you don't do anymore. But I guess perhaps that perception is same to you, that I have actually changed a lot as well. But I think I've changed a lot less.
Yeah. Well, I think that. Yeah, well, we almost don't have time to get into it, so this will have to be a topic for next week. How much Guy changed from 20 to 30, and how much I changed from 20 to 30. I definitely went through quite a large transmogrification. You like that?
You went through a large transition.
Transmogrification. It's a good word. So from about 28 to 32 was the main thing.
Also, you did go through that weed phase for a while.
Well, still going through it.
Oh, sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
You were in a real phase where you're really smoking weed.
Yeah, well...
And you were like, you thought it was really doing wonders for your inspiration and stuff. Well, I think we talked about it on the podcast, maybe.
Probably.
Right at the beginning. Or if not, you extolled the virtues to me many, many times.
Yeah.
And I was like, the virtue of fucking pigging out on Macca's? I don't think so, mate.
Pigging out on Macca's?
Pigging out on Macca's. After the fact.
Right.
I just get real inspired and start writing. I drive directly to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And buy a fucking two fucking Big Macs.
I write I write all these poems and improvs and stuff to save for later.
And I have a caramel sundae.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I also think that that's really toned down to at its apex where it was at one point.
Yeah, maybe. That was definitely a contributing factor as well to my transition, I think, as well. It was all kind of happened at the same time. It was a combination of factors. Like,
it was a combination of weed.
I turned 28. And I didn't smoke weed before 28. So I turned 28 and I started smoking weed. And I feel like that combination of kind of aging and suddenly becoming more introverted and thinking more about, the world and all that type of stuff. And speaking less. It all came from that combination of like age and weed. And I'm glad that I didn't start smoking weed until my late 20s because, they say your brain doesn't stop developing until you're 25. Well, it's still like... It's still changing and developing now, I think. But, like they say, it's changing a lot before you're 25, and you can fuck it up if you be a habitual weed smoker while your brain's still developing, which makes...
Sorry, Liam.
Which makes perfect sense to me. Liam wasn't even too much of a pothead, was he?
I was just joking.
Just randomly picking on him.
Just a little joking for... he's a supporter. You got to shout him out.
You got to acknowledge him every now and then. Yeah.
He's listening.
Yeah, so anyway, we can get into that next week, though, a little bit more about those changes in you and changes in me, because for now, I've got to go change my undies. I just went to the gym. I'm some stewing over here.
Well, I just quick move it.
So sorry, actually, I did just want to finish the birthday thing.
Yeah.
So it is my birthday tomorrow. I'm doing nothing. I've got no plans. I've got no friends. I'm not doing a BYO. I'm not having a party.
You do accept presents.
But I do accept presents. And if any of the listeners wanted to buy me a beer, they absolutely can. And a very easy way to do that is to go to paypal.com. All you need is my email address, which is harleyneville@hotmail.com. harleyneville@hotmail.com. Slap $8 in there or $10 or something, and I'll buy a beer. And hey, if two people put in $10 each, well then Guy and I can both have a beer tomorrow night after work.
If you also want to send him presents, he can privately probably give you
my address
to send to.
Yeah, a bunch of perverts will be like a bunch of filthy 50 perverts.
Well, as long as they're sending you presents,
posting me dick pics, and
as long as
used dildos,
as long as
stinky used dildos,
might be a fresh one.
Liam's stinky used dildo. Jason Coombs.
You can get I think a dildo is one of the things you can get away with using and then giving to someone else, right? You keep the packaging.
Yeah.
No one will be the wiser, but there'll just be this knowledge in your head.
And
this secret shame in your head that you've passed on a lot of things to this person.
That was in my ass.
Yeah. How's the new dildo treating you, Guy? And then in the back of your head, that was in my ass.
So, yes. So you were saying movie reviews. Yeah, don't forget, people, Patreon and PayPal. That's the way to buy me a beer.
Yeah. Well, speaking of depression and falling into it, A Cure for Wellness.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this film?
I've heard about it, yeah. I've heard the name.
Pretty good name.
I think I watched the trailer, though, and I was like, this looks shit.
Great name, I think.
Yeah.
Cure for Wellness. And it's by Gore Verbinski. Do you know who that is?
He's the neighbor of Invercargill Verbinski.
He is the director of the first Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Wow.
among other things. He also did Rango, which and The Lone Ranger. Underrated. Lone Ranger, very underrated. Good, underrated. But anyway, so he's kind of done all these big blockbusters, and he's come back and done this kind of thriller/horror. And it's quite long. It's a long film. It asks you...
I hate long films.
It asks you for your attention. It draws you in slow. It's a slow burner.
Oh, I hate those films.
And it's interesting because I think everyone has that attitude, unfortunately. Short attention spans.
The only slow burn film I've ever enjoyed was the latest one by Tarantino.
The Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, but that's my point, right? You can become engaged by a long film, and it can work for you.
Yeah, but
it's
9 times out of 10
it
doesn't. You know, that one did, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't for me.
So for me, I'm a little bit more forgiving, but I listened to a interview with a director, and he was like, yeah, look, I'm just trying to do something a little bit different. I'm trying to say, look, you're going to have to sit with this for a while. You may have to think about this. It's going to be a little bit more work for you, and movies are missing that. And I agree. American movies are missing that. 100%. You know, they're really missing that. And I thought it was nice. My girlfriend did not like it that much. She thought it was too long. But I thought it was really nice that he was willing to take risks, and that's kind of what he said. He's like, look, I'm not trying to do the safe, easy thing here. I'm trying to do something that's a little bit more thought-provoking, and, you know, it's not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. I'd rather be on those fringes. And I was like, that's pretty fucking cool, because that's not the attitude that most people have, and this film is worth your time. And and it has grown on me. When I watched it, I was like, yeah, this is a little bit long. The more that it sat with me, much like The Shining, which just clearly references a little bit, I found it to be better, and I've thought about it more, and I'd like to watch it again. And so I recommend that one for those that are willing to sit down and take a little bit of time with a film, because it's exquisitely shot. Great performances, creepy premise. You gotta love those asylum movies, don't you? Put someone in asylum. Fucking always good stuff.
Like the one I just did.
Yeah, and what's that one, the Scorsese one? That was Shutter Island. That was not too bad. And also that, that script that I wrote. One of my first scripts was an
Orderly
asylum
Misconduct.
movie. Yeah, that was an asylum movie. We'll probably never see that.
Guy's first ever kind of successful script. And we say successful in the sense that other people were interested in it, and it got sent to agencies and, and that type of thing, and it had the potential to get bought.
Yeah.
And it was called Orderly Misconduct, and he was 20.
Yeah,
probably 20.
Yeah, 19, 20. I probably wrote the first draft when I was 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orderly Misconduct. And there's a little nod to it in Older, so keep an eye out. If one day you get to watch Older, you'll see a little nod, a little secret Easter egg about Orderly Misconduct in there, and only you listeners and Guy and I will know about it.
Yeah, fucking the most obscure references in my films. I leave them only for my podcast listeners. But A Cure for Wellness, I encourage people to go out and watch that if you like kind of thriller/horrors, if you sort of looking for something a little bit different, and also, just good stuff.
All right.
I think you might actually like it, Harley, if you don't get if the length doesn't affect you too drastically.
Yeah, which it could do. Yeah. But all right, that's enough, you cinephile.
Speaking of things that have run on too long.
Yeah, I am I'm late. I've got to be at work in half an hour, and I haven't had a shower from the gym yet. So, homie got to roll. But we will see you next week. Please remember you can support us by hitting like on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. Patreon, search Pigville on Patreon. You can give us $1 a month to keep creating this podcast, and we will really, really appreciate that. We're currently getting $35 a month at the moment, US, and our latest contributor is Samuel Wheeler, who made an Zombied, which is not out yet. I acted in it, but
Looking forward to seeing it.
I've seen the first episode. It looks good, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And so, yeah, thank you, Sam. That we really appreciate that. And so if you guys would like to do the same, you can give us $1 a month or whatever you want, and that really helps us. And then the other thing you can do is just remember that it's my birthday tomorrow. Please buy me a beer. I really want that. PayPal, harleyneville@hotmail.com.
All right. Thank you very much. See you next week. I really want that.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.